among millennials. Some of those alternatives are things like technology, phones, those things that have a monthly bill now. It used to equate to a blouse or a t-shirt or a pair of jeans each month. That's a phone bill now. Food, dining out, education costs. Younger people are staying in school longer, and the whole student debt issue is very real because it takes away from spending on clothing, particularly among a group, an age class, that has a high propensity to spend on clothing and buy multiple things. So those types of issues are cutting into some of the spending that we traditionally see in apparel. That's the challenge that we face going forward. So which factors matter most to clothing shoppers? This is the gold slide. This slide shows you among the different factors that consumers are influenced by, what matters. In 2016, you see it's fit, it's price, it's style, durability, performance. Laundry instructions are important to a lesser degree. Country of origin to a very lesser degree. Environment. People may be surprised by that, but I'm going to talk about that quite a bit. Don't be surprised about that. Brand name. Those with brands in the room may say, oh no, that can't be. Yes, it can. To consumers in general. Brands play an important role, but brand loyalty is not the same as brand awareness. And we're going to talk about these things. So this is what's happening here. These are the factors that are most important. And guess what? If you go back to 2011, and you can go back to 1994 when we started tracking this information, these factors have not changed very much at all. Okay? In fact, the one that has just a little bit over the last few years is style. Okay? And that's great because that's what this show is all about. Different looks, different styles. So there's room for that, and we're going to talk about all of these factors and in particular a little bit about the importance of style. But one of the key messages I want you to take away from this information is that as you look at these numbers, and you hear a whole lot of things that consumers are looking for, and what they're after, and what's out there in the economy and other issues, it still comes back to a few basic purchase drivers. It's the same for men, it's the same for women, it's the same for millennials, for Gen X, for baby boomers. This list is essentially the same. So it's fit, it's price, it's style, and several other lesser factors. So let's explore some of these factors. And I want to start with fit. And when we talk about fit, it is the crucial issue and factor. And this consistently ranks at or near the top of purchase factors. And this, by the way, is not just true in the U.S. We do some research in about 10 different markets around the world, and fit is consistently right up there. So it's good fitting clothes is a primary purchase driver. Where do we see it expressed the most? Underwear. I suspect if it doesn't start fitting right with underwear, nothing else is going to feel comfortable. So underwear is at the top of the list, 88%, followed by denim jeans, dress shirts. Okay. One category where fit is important, but a little less so compared to other categories, is activewear. Okay. And we see that trend in some baggier styles, some looser fitting clothing. Okay. Fit's still important. Majority of consumers will tell you that, but not as high as importance as we see in some of these other categories. Looking at some different sizes in the market, this is important to keep in mind as we talk about different population groups. We have to be very careful to think about different size consumers and what the customers are looking for. There's been a lot of attention given to, and rightfully so, the plus size apparel market. And that is a market that is still underserved and not designed for properly. There's a lot of opportunity there to explore. We're doing some work and working with some companies that are doing that. So looking at the sizes is critical to the fit issue. We did some work a few years ago, and it's still very relevant in the findings that we see, looking at the jeans market in particular and asking people, what's the fit issue? What's the problem you're having? And here's what we found in the jeans area. The number one issue was the length. purchases and buys. So I show this again to you because it's really critical if you're trying to get to your customer needs, and the number one is fit, that you pay attention to the fit issues, understand what the consumer problems are and where the opportunities are. Also coming from some work we did looking at the premium jeans, talking to people who bought premium denim jeans. You ask them, why did you buy those jeans? Why did you do that? Number one issue, fit, 85%. Style, 35% after that. But fit is the driving issue. And I like to say that in the premium jeans market, it's a search for good fitting jeans. Price isn't it's a search for fit. So fit, number one factor, very, very important. Second factor that's critical to consumers in markets, not just in the U.S., but around the world, price. The issue of price continues to dominate our industry. Pressure is on for lower and lower price. On the supply side of the business, companies work hard to lower their sourcing costs because on the consumer side of the business, it's still increasingly competitive. And the trend in price is one where prices continue to face a lot of pressure. We see in the U.S. market, when we look at what consumers say, about 48% indicate that they would sacrifice quality for a better price. So 48% there. A little dark to see here. Pay more for better quality is about 46%. So the market's about kind of split on this trade-off between price and quality. 6% don't know, and those are usually the people who just go along for the shopping experience. Still thinking about price. If a product does something different, multifunctional clothing, if it can do something, and we're going to talk about that in a few moments, but 66% indicate that they pay more for something that does that. So marketing those aspects of clothing are really important to getting consumers to pay more. Natural fibers. This is an issue where we're seeing increasing interest among consumers as we see topics like plastics in the ocean and biodegradability and fibers and products that are not biodegradable starting to get more and more attention and press. So we're seeing a bump up in the interest for natural fibers. And this is one where I think we'll continue to see a trend where people will recognize that's something that they might be willing to pay more for in the market. Now, most customers will wait for a better price, and 62% is the number in red here, and these are the percentage of consumers that buy on sale at the end of the season. So while people want to be stylish, price as a factor still dominates. And a lot of consumers, particularly in the U.S., are conditioned to wait and look for sales at the end of the season. Only about 20% indicate that they'll buy the new styles early in the season. Everybody looks, but a lot of people still wait. We continue to see this pattern. This has not changed. We also see no difference in this pattern when you're looking at millennials, Generation X, or baby boomers. It's consistent across age groups in the market. Some other factors that are important as we think about price as a driver. 78% of customers prefer one low price rather than hunting for deals. Everybody sees a lot of information, and increasingly so now with social media. But there's some suggestions and some evidence that we're starting to see, particularly among millennials, that maybe this is too much information. And really what they're doing is using all this information for ideas about style, but comparison shopping to drive the price forward.